I'm really excited about just talking to you about the characteristics of gifted kids. I've had a lot of parents ask me, how it does giftedness show up in my child? How might it be showing up? And you might see these things, even if you have a high ability child, a lot of these things might be showing up as well. So I'm going to talk about 8 characteristics today, and then I'll do a continuation to talk about the other 7 main ones that show up. So let's get started. So the first one is strong verbal abilities. And this is actually maybe one of the first things you really noticed about your child being different. And that might be that their verbal ability was already high when they were just a tiny little kid, right? When they were just learning to talk, all of a sudden they were throwing out, soon after talking, big words. They might even learn how to talk quickly. But even so, even if they didn't learn ahead of the curve, then once they did learn how to talk, then it wasn't just the regular words, but once they start putting together the words, it seemed a bit more sophisticated. And so it can be really exciting and unexpected. When the other kids are kind of using the most basic words, your child's already understanding the nuances of language. So even when they were then maybe getting into 3 and 4 years old, that verbal ability you could see even more clearly. And they might have taught themselves at those young ages how to read. And so they might just stand out because of that ability to just really be able to take on language, understand it, and then even if it's verbal or the written word, no matter what, they're really taking it in, okay? And then the second thing is unusually good memory. So their memory, they might have really good, clear visuals of what happened to them when they were young, really young. So my son is 11 now, and he can remember his 3rd birthday. Like, he can give us all the details of what happened on that 3rd birthday. So events that stood out that were particularly exciting and wonderful, they're going to remember it. It might be even the events that weren't so great. Those are going to stand out for them. You might also notice it in terms of them being able to learn quickly, memorize information, just being taught and told something about history, and suddenly they heard it once and they've got it. Or they might just read something in a book and it's committed to memory instantly. A lot of kids need many exposures to learn new material, easily 6, 8 times to really start understanding and taking it on. But gifted kids, gosh, 1 exposure, no more than 4, and they've got that really mastered and they can move on, especially if it's an area of interest. Now, this does not mean they're going to remember to put away their math homework or even do their homework, but the things that they're committing to memory, the learning, the exciting things, the really core memories are going to be there pretty solid, which is exciting. Now, a third characteristic is that they have intense curiosity. So you might have been hearing for years, why this? Why is the sky blue? Why do we have to do this? Why is this so important? Why did this happen in history? Why is this math equation coming out? Why do we flip the fraction to do the math? And so lots of different things that they're wondering about, but usually it even goes more deep. They might be wondering about, why is there racism, and not really understanding and getting it? Or why do people treat each other badly? Just fairness, things just about the world that they're trying to wrap their brain around. Maybe understanding the difference between different types of animals and just understanding. And they really want to know. They're going to investigate. They might be curious and just all of a sudden get excited about space and have just lots of questions, and the questions go on and on and on, and sometimes you have to be like, okay, that's enough, okay, one more question, and then cut it off. And this can also be a factor in school. where your child might have a limited number of times that they can ask questions or respond in class because they have so much to say that their hand's constantly raised. Another aspect is lots of interests. So this kind of goes along with the curiosity. They might be really excited about math, really excited about science, really want to know everything that they can about the periodic table within science. So lots of different areas, and just it can feel like they're jumping from one thing to the next. Oh my gosh, I'm going to learn how to do magic tricks. Oh man, I'm going to build Legos, and I'm going to investigate this animal that I'm really excited about. So it can feel a lot like, wow, I thought they were interested in this. Now they're interested in this. And it can come across as disorganized and scattered at times. But there are kids that can go in the other direction too, where it's not the wide range of interests, but it's more about really honing in on very specific interests and diving deep. They want to know everything. I've heard this a lot about kids with dinosaurs. They want to know everything possible they could. Or for my son, it was math. He loves murderous math books, and he wants to read everything about all the murderous math books. He wants to learn. He'll watch YouTubers talking about math and complexities of math. Really loves it, and this has been going on for years. But for some kids, it's dabbling here and there. He's also had an interest at times in the piano and really excited, and then it kind of drops off, and then it kind of comes back. So Legos, though, has been a huge interest that's just always there. He's been very talented since he was very young, even 5 and 6, and he could do the teenage and above. I mean, really amazing quickly. So just lots of different types of interests that they can either really focus on, dive deep in, or they might just scatter and be here talking about this, then the next day and you're okay, which is not dinosaurs anymore, now it's skateboards. Okay, now we're into this other subject. World War I. All right, here we go. Now, number 6 is passionate and imagination and being creative in such an exciting way. And I love all of these. I love all these aspects of what make these kids so unique. But this one's so fun because they get to make up these fantasy worlds in their mind and really picture them. And I've heard, oh my gosh, as a mom, I've gone for walks with my son, and he's described his own world that he's created, all the different people within it, what the trees, what the landscape's like, everything in just incredible detail. And I remember when he do this, this went on for months with this image in his brain that he'd share. And the exciting part is that now it's turning out in his writing, just the most descriptive writing where you can just see that his imagination is coming alive, and with intricate plot, and then what the people are wearing and what they're doing. And this is really common for kids, especially that are strong in the imagination. And some kids are going to be within even the gifted realm stronger in imagination than others. But their creativity is going to come out somewhere, whether it's in music and being able to create amazing music with just listening and thinking through the notes. And it can come up in their drawings, that they can just go into that kind of detail. So it just depends. But in the creative arts, you'll see it. Or just being creative, having a creative problem-solving approach to things. There's so many ways this can show up. But it's really exciting to see and to be a part of. All right, number 7, having a remarkable sense of humor. Oh my gosh. And sometimes this humor can come out really black and white, but in any case, it's so clever because they love wordplay. And sometimes they're taking those words, like they're looking at one meaning, then they're looking at both meanings, and really trying to dive in and see, how do words work? How can we use them in these nuanced ways? And how can we it surprise people and be exciting? So lots of different things that can go on with wordplay and riddles. Oh my gosh, we've been through a lot of my son making up his own riddles. And not everyone gets them, including me. But it's fun. It's fun to just see his excitement of, oh my gosh, I made up this new riddle. And we're like, yeah, way to go. And I'm like, huh. And maybe not share that with your friends. They might not get it. But that's all right. It's still fun. They're excited, and they're just trying to really understand language in a deeper way, which is just playful and fun for them. And then the last one I'm going to talk about today is being impatient with themselves and with others. So a lot of these are kind of fun, playful, exciting. But there is some downsides, right? Some trickier parts, and I'm going to talk about those more next time, but this is definitely one of them. Impatient with themselves because they want to learn quickly. And sometimes it's just they think they should be good at something right out of the gate. Oh my gosh, they're picking up pickleball for the first time, playing, and they think they should be amazing at it right away. And that's not realistic. For most kids. I mean, some kids have a natural athletic abilities and be better than others, but what the image in their mind of what they think they should be able to do and what they actually do can be a huge disappointment. And that can be really obvious with their emotions, that they get down on themselves and hard on themselves, like, oh, why can't I do this? And that can show up as anger and frustration. It can show up as crying and turning inward and just saying, I'm not going to do it. So lots of different ways it can play out depending on your child's personality. But what they all have in common is just seeing something, like having this vision in their mind of what it should be like, that experience or that end product, if it's a project. Oh my gosh, they imagine just it being like beautiful and perfect and like this adult that's done it because they know they're so capable. And yet when they fall short, because that happens a lot, they're just not at that level till they've practiced more and more. It is devastating, and it takes a big toll on their confidence. And this is where kids really need help with confidence, because they think it's just, and your reassurance isn't enough for them to really believe and understand what's going on, because they can go to, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get this right away? And here's another aspect to this same trait, and that is being hard on others. Because they have such high expectations for themselves, they think, well, shouldn't that person be able to do it too? Shouldn't they be able to learn as quickly as I can? And then just don't get it when it doesn't happen. And so if they're working on a project with other kids, it can be a huge disappointment that other kids just don't see things the same way they do, or they're not doing the quality of work that your child thinks is needed. And that can cause a lot of tension and disappointment again. And so, it can show up with impatience, especially with younger siblings, where they're just like, wait, they don't remember the progression of being younger. And so they just assume, oh yeah, they're at my level already, or they shouldn't be too far behind. And so it just can be a little bit frustrating. And then it can also show up as feeling like that their siblings should be treated the same, younger siblings should be treated the same way they are. And it can even happen with older siblings, going to bed at a later time. All these different things can kind of tie in together. And it gets a little fuzzy and murky, and just can feel a little like icky to them at times when things just don't turn out the way that they think that they should. All right. So I work with kids, especially on this last one, but all of these things are going to show up, and your child might is going to know that they're different because of these different things, the level that they're showing up within their life. And especially if they're not at a gifted school with other kids that share a lot of these same traits, then they're going to see themselves and notice that their thinking, the way that they tackle the world, is showing up in a different way. And it can be really scary to feel different in that way. And it's exciting because that's what I help kids see, is how amazing that is. And that they're different. There's so many other kids like them, because sometimes standing out as different just feels like you're alone. And that's not what you want for your child, is them to feel alone within this kind of gifted or high ability realm to this extent. All right?